CS1010X Lecture 15 Object-Oriented Programming with Java. In the last lecture, we talked about how to write program in Java. You saw static method that you do not need to have an object to use it, and you also see a little bit of instance method where you have to have an object to use the method. This lecture also uses a lot of instance methods. In particular, this lecture is on designing data structure or abstract data type. An object is a way to encapsulate all the information that are the data plus all the possible ways of working on the object, which are the algorithms. Data can be primitive data, compiled data, or structure, like tuples in Python. Computation is done through object or interaction with other object. In this video, we first go through simple notions about object-oriented programming, and we will examine Java in particular for its encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism, which are concepts in object-oriented programming. Then we look at the class complex number, which was done in Python in lecture 10. For here, we repeat it in Java. We go through in a few slides important notions about object-oriented programming. Here are the three important concepts of object-oriented language: encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Encapsulation is to group data and associate functionalities into a single package. Its purpose is to hide internal details from outsider. That is, outsider who is using the package does not need to know the implementation details of the package. Inheritance, a way to allow us to reuse codes by adding on to existing ones without repeating many similar ones. Just like children inherit the same behavior of their parents, so packages form some form of hierarchical relationship. Polymorphism. It allows functions to take on poly, that is, many forms according to different data types for its input. All this will be illustrated with Java language. Here's how it looks like. Data is sort of like protected by functions, and the data and functions are encapsulated in one package. There is no direct access into the data. To process the data, the third party has to call the function to deal with the data. So any modification to data are through functions that are known within the package. So in object-oriented programming, the view of a program is a collection of objects. A computation is performed through interactions among objects. Each object has a set of capability or functionalities, or they are actually methods, and information, which are data. Capability are exposed selectively to the public so that a third party can use it, and data are generally kept within the object and be modified by methods or functions within the class. There are advantages and also disadvantages of object-oriented language. It is easier to design as it's closely resembling the real world and easier to maintain because of modularity and extensibility. While it has its disadvantage too, it is less efficient in general in execution because it has removed the low level and it stays at a higher level. And program is usually longer. We can now talk about the object-oriented features of Java. Java as an object-oriented language, it enforces object-oriented principle. The methods are of two types: static method or instance method. Static method is one that you can use without an object. Instance method is one that you must have an object to use it. The method parameters are passed by value. There's no change to the value that pass in, and it is also passed by object that you can change the value of the object. Encapsulation. By now you should know that writing a big program is challenging because there are many things to take care of and different cases or scenarios to worry about. Add here, subtract there, and so on. And once this happens, you need to do this and that. To help in framing out or drawing a boundary, encapsulations is an attempt to contain all actions within one place. Again, we speak of managing complexity. So encapsulation is hiding details that any third party using the object or using the codes related to the object need not know about certain fine and irrelevant details. Java does the encapsulation as a class that all the actions and data allowed are spelled out in the class. So a class groups together data and processes, which are actually algorithms. A class is now a new data type. Besides the usual memory, as in the primitive data type, it also has the processes. We can then use variables as an instance or as an object of a class to have all these data and processes individually. So a class contains data where each object or instance has an independent copy, and each object has a collection of functions which is the same across all the instances. And the terminology is such that a data of a class are actually called attributes or member data, and functions of a class are called methods or member functions. To achieve information hiding, attributes and methods can have different visibilities. That is, what are allowed to be done with them from outside a class can be specified. We can have public, that means all are visible, private, local to the class, protected, which is visible to the class and its descendants, or you don't specify, that means it's only accessible to classes in the same Java package. For public, of course, everything is visible to outside, so usually this is intended for methods that others can use. Of course, there are likely to be methods that are not for outside people to use. This should not be tagged with public. Instead, this should be tagged with private. For private, it is accessible to within the class, and usually this is recommended for all attributes. Data are private means that outside of the class, codes cannot directly access to the data. Still, data can be modified if needed through methods that are in public. Private is very strict. It only allows visibility within a class. Remember, object-oriented actually allows hierarchy. Those that are descendant to the current class are very related, and one may want to allow such descendant classes to see the attributes. Then, in such cases, these methods or attributes should be tagged as protected instead of private to relax the restriction. When a method or an attribute is tagged with protected, Java actually allows such attribute to be visible within the same Java package too. For none, it's only accessible to classes in the same Java package. Let's go through an example to understand all this. Here's the class BankAccount. It has two variables, integer underscore account number, double underscore balance, and both of these are private. That means outside of the class, no one can know their existence. That means also that no one outside of the class can modify the content of these two variables. So to modify anything in here, it has to be done with method given in the class. Here they are public boolean withdraw a particular amount. So the balance could be subtracted with the amount if there are sufficient balance in there. And deposit with just an amount added to the balance. Besides the withdraw and the deposit, to deal with the private variables, we need a method to print out the account number and the balance, and it is set as public so that outside of the class we can print out the account number and the balance too. When an object of a class is to be created, the so-called constructors, which is a specialized method, is to be executed. Usually the execution of the constructor method is to initialize attributes of the newly created object. If there is no constructor provided, as in the case of our previous slide, the compiler will provide one default constructor with no parameter, and all attributes of the newly created objects are initialized to 0. If needed, one can provide more than one constructor to deal with different kinds of parameters or different kinds of initializations. Here is our bank account example again. We have put in two constructors, this one and this one. Notice that constructor method has to be public so that it can be used by outside the class. Also notice that constructor has the same name as the class name. Bank account, bank account, bank account. The first constructor actually does nothing still. It is just like the default given by Java, but it has to be here for us because we're going to use it in our test programs on this bank account. The second constructor has the input parameter a number to set the account number and the balance to set the balance. Just a reminder of the difference between class and object. Class is like a blueprint, and object is like the actual house. Human is a class, and you and me with our own names, date of birth, height are objects of this human class. Just like in Python, to refer to the attribute or method of an object, we use the dot operator. Now let's look at a full test example of our bank account created previously. We have class test bank account. As before, public static void main. This is the place where the Java system will enter the program. Bank account BA1. So bank account is a class. We have an object for the class BA1 equal to a new object of this bank account using the constructor with no parameter. Then bank account BA2 created with the constructor having the two parameters 1234 as the account number and 99.99 as the balance. Then we can do BA1 dot the dot operator, deposit 1000 into bank account number 1. So the bank account now has no account number but has a balance of 1000. Then if you do bank account 2 withdraw 500.25, but bank account 2 has only balance of 99.99. So this withdrawal will not work. So the BA2, bank account 2, remains having the balance of 99.99. And should you try to do bank account dot underscore account number equal to this number, this is invalid because account number is private and it is not visible outside of the class. Test bank account is a class outside our bank account class. So account number inside the bank account is not visible. So this will result in a compilation error. Same for the balance. Underscore balance cannot be modified outside of the bank account. The variable names BA1, BA2 as you saw in the previous slide and also here are just object references. Specifically, all non-primitive data type variables such as BA1 and BA2 are actually object references. It means that references could be assigned to each other. Let's take a closer look. Bank account BA1 equal to new bank account. So this is a constructor with no parameter. So BA1 is a reference. It has created in the memory an object with account number 0 and balance 0. Bank account BA2, so this is creating a variable name as a reference of a bank account class. And at this moment, since nothing assigned to BA2, so BA2 is a null pointer. Next, BA2 equal to BA1. So you see that BA2 now points to the same object as BA1. When 1000 is deposited, BA1 now has a balance of 1000 as well as BA2 because BA2 pointing to the same location as BA1. Now when you print BA2, you are in fact printing the same as BA1. So account number 0 and balance 1000 are printed out. In a program, we often deal with objects of the same class. So in a method, we often need to distinguish who is who. The one who calls the method as object.method is also referred to as this particular object. So this keyword is a reference to the object calling the method. Attribute and methods are then accessible through this.attributes or this.method. Here is a simple illustration. We have two bank accounts, BA1 and BA2. So BA1 is pointing to this account number 1234 and BA2 is pointing to this account number 9999. So the first one is BA1 dot withdrawal of 100. So at this moment, this is actually referring to BA1 because BA1 calls the withdrawal. So inside this withdrawal method, underscore balance is actually referring to this, which is the 350 cents. And so the deduction of the amount is from this 350 cents. Then it becomes 250 cents. The next withdrawal is by BA2. So this actually refers to the other account, which is pointed to by BA2, the account number 9999. So the deduction of 100 is from here 1001.40 cents, which will give you 901.40 cents. Here is the corresponding Python code for the bank account class and the test bank account class, which are provided in the teaching resource. You can download to study carefully against the version in Java. And here is the Java version of the bank account class that we have been talking about, and the test bank account class also in the teaching resource that you can download to try it out. To conclude these sections, you see many of the instance methods that are methods of objects. And we saw mostly static method, also inclusive of the public static void main. These are methods with modifier static, and this method do not refer to any specific object. So using this method do not need to use an object to call it.